Good evening, one and all, and welcome to the final regular season edition of Super League Raw Weekly on this Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. There's only be one place to be, and Craig Forth knows it, Daz Dean knows it, Mark Smith knows it, Freddie McGilvery's in the house as well. They're all flying in with me this evening, this morning, if you're listening to the podcast, is the full team. My old mate Reginald Nixon. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, sir. Are you well?
Very well indeed. Also with us is Joel Scholes.
Good evening. How are you?
Yes, very well. And playing hide and seek is Steph Sale. He's back. Hello there, Steph.
All right. Evening, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Lots to get through this evening. It's going to be a fantastic edition of Super League Raw. Just stay where you are. Don't go anywhere. Hello to Bazza Kingston, Joe Dalgreen, Steve Carledge, Callum Calver, also Super League Raw members. They're in the chat already. Good evening to you all. Don't forget, this is your job. You do it every week. Do it now. Like, share, subscribe, and comment throughout the show. We'll be giving you your shout-outs as always. Members, of course, will get first stabs on the shout-outs. But yes, like, share, and subscribe if you permit me, gentlemen. Bit of Super League Raw news to get through before we get into our chat. First and foremost, let's welcome our newest members, Simon Shaw and Adam Cowell. They've joined up since we were last together. Really great to have them as part of the community. They're in the WhatsApp group already, and they're going to be enjoying all the benefits of the Super League Raw membership. Well done to you guys. Why not join them? In the top of the screen is our QR code. If you're listening to the podcast, it's in the description. Super League Raw is on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Super League Raw. Will we get members during the show? Let's hope so. Scan that QR code and get involved. It'd be great to have your company. Lots coming down the pipe. Christmas dues, Super League Raw live in January. That's on its way. Oh, the quiz night is coming. And in fact, on the quiz night, that is going to be a week on Thursday, the 3rd of October. The quiz night, the winner will be joining the Super League Raw team at the grand final. That is exclusive to members only, though. It's a great prize. That is what that one's going to be. So make sure you become a member between now and then. That can only be won by a member. The Super League Raw podcast going from Strem to Strem. We posted this on our Facebook page today, ladies and gentlemen. For you guys listening on Apple, Amazon and Spotify, a massive thank you. Super League Raw is now ranked number 8 of all rugby podcasts in the UK this morning. The only rugby league podcast that is better than us is ranked number 6th, and that is James Graham's. And I'll tell you what, I don't mind that at all. If we're punching with the big man himself, I'm more than happy with that. Thank you, one and all, on behalf of the entire team, and of course the Team Talk members who contribute so well to the Final Whistle podcast. If you haven't listened to that, make sure you do. You can download that tomorrow on your way to work. Listen to what we had to say in depth about round 27. Of course, we'll be back for another edition of that, the other side of the elimination playoff this weekend. I'm almost there, boys. The last thing to talk about is this. The Birch sees off a late surge from the Lawson. Massive congratulations to Huddersfield Giants fan Ryan Birch, who has won the Super League Raw Fantasy League. He had a little bit of a sweat on last week, but he managed to keep Jamie Lawson at bay. Congratulations to Ryan. He will be getting his 2025 season ticket courtesy of Super League Raw. Gentlemen, I'm sure you would also like to wish Ryan your very best wishes and congratulations.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, man.
Consistency. That's what it's all about.
Great train and carried on, didn't he? And there he is. He's in the chat and he's saying thank you. I've not bought it for you yet. Be nice. But no, happy days. He's congratulations to Dawn Baker. She's sending Ryan her congratulations and good evening to you, Dawn. Good evening indeed to you. Matt Timms is with us as well. Oh yeah, they're all flying in. Dawn Kirby as well. Dawn Kirby, the two Dawns with us. Right, let's get into some chat. That's pretty much the Super League Raw news. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled for the quiz on the 3rd of October. Let's start. Where are we going to start? Let's start here, shall we? So let's go straight in when I get on me. Here we go. It is now official. The Albert Goldthorpe medal winner for 2024 is Mark Sneyd. 29 points he got over the course of the season. Mikey Lewis only got 1 point this weekend. Had he got 3, he would have toppled Mr. Sneyd, but he only got the 1. Mikey Lewis 2nd. Matt Duffy is 3rd. George Williams 4th, and Tom Amone gets himself into the top 5 of the Albert Goldthorpe medal. I don't know if you've seen this, gentleman, but Mark Sneyd takes the first award of the end of season awards. Greg, I'll start with you. Happy with that?
Yeah, as happy as you can be. He's been consistent all season. I'm not quite so sure Mikey Lewis only got 1 point at the weekend, but never mind. And it makes you wonder if Matt Duffy hadn't been out for a few weeks, whether he could have toppled him. But all in all, he's been consistent throughout the season. So Well done, Mr. Sneed.
Yeah, on that, Joel, Greg there mentioning Matt Duffy had Mr. Duffy not had an injury. Do you think that, I think Duffy would have probably have got a few points over the last 4 rounds?
He certainly would have done, yeah. It shows just how tight it was with the fact that, he's played considerably less matches. And, it was within sniffing distance anyway, as it stands. So it's great to see that there's so many good players in the league and they're all fighting for these types of accolades. So it's really good. But yeah, Duffy would have most likely had a shout at nicking the top spot there.
Yeah, and Stefan, obviously we like to see prop forwards getting in the top echelons of these awards. Tom and Moan, though, my thoughts go to Herman SASA. Personally, I think he's very unlucky not to have been top prop in this.
Yeah, especially considering, what my point on Mark Sneed was that obviously he's really stood out this year, and as a halfback in that Salford side, I think he's been, one that's very focused on. SASA in the Hull FC team has been outstanding every week, so he must have been, or should have been getting 3 points nearly every week. So very surprised. But again, for a moan, just on him, I think he's missed 7 games this year. So to come out with that amount of points, I don't remember him getting many 3s. So it must be like your 2s and your 1s that's got him up there as well, which is pretty incredible, really. But
Absolutely. Greg Roach is with us. Thanks, Greg. Greg sending his congratulations on the podcast viewing figures. No, thank you, Mr. Dulcet Tones. I'm sure you have at least got 5, maybe 10, maybe 15, if not more, downloads a week just to listen to that sultry voice of yours, sir, on the Final Whistle podcast. Thank you to you. Alex Sharp asking us, Matty Leigh's got many points. We'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Do you know what? Seeing as though he's gone there, I'm pretty fluid. Here they are in all of their finery. The Dream Team, we spoke about this at length on the Final Whistle. Joel, you weren't there. We were really surprised by Matty Leigh's being in there. I put a graphic up that was on our Facebook page comparing him to people that we wouldn't think would be in contention. We will be discussing people who we do believe should be in contention when we get to the Dream Team Awards. Were you surprised to see Matty Leigh's there, mate?
Yeah, I was, yeah. He's not really being spoke about that highly compared to some of the players that you see lined up there. But I think, unfortunately, some people do get favoured just because of who they are and who they play for. And I think we'll leave it at that, probably.
Yeah, Greg, can we take anything from the photo? Matt Duffy centre? I mean, they haven't put them in position order because you've got Lees and Nene McDonald either side of him. Can we judge anything Man of Steel-wise, the fact that Matt Duffy's in the middle, or do we think that will probably go the way of Mikey Lewis?
I think that'll probably go the way of Mikey Lewis, as I said, mainly because Duffy's missed 4 or 5 games towards the back end of the season.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, I don't think Duffy's got Man of Steel this year.
Yeah.
Which is a shame for the lad because he's been outstanding. But
it is.
That's the game, isn't it?
It is. Well, we spoke at length about the Dream Team on the Final Whistle, us 3. So we'll move on. I just wanted to get Joel's thoughts on that one. Right, let's get into some news. We'll start, I'll tell you what, let's start with Player of the Year awards. Let's go to the Player of the Year awards that have been announced this week. I'm going to start at Hull FC. Jordan Lane, Player of the Year at Hull FC. Now, supporters and players did go the way of Herman SASA. But Jordan Lane, have I missed something? Anybody?
If you've missed it, I think we've all missed it.
Yeah.
I think it's been clear to see, especially with FC this season, who has played well. And that one player has been picked by the fans.
Yeah.
SES is the only one that's been in people's mouths, really.
Well, he did get the fans award, didn't he, SASA? He got
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But, that should be Player of the Year because he's the one really who's been putting the whole graft in.
Yeah.
He's the only one that everyone thinks has been playing the best.
Yeah. I mean, Alex Gibbs in the chat there, and he's saying, that's his view. It's SASA all day long as far as he's concerned. I think most neutrals where Hull FC are concerned would say exactly the same. Really surprised by that. Equally surprised at Warrington. I mean, don't get me wrong, Greg. Ben Cullen moving to loose forward has been a revelation. Duffy got players player, of course, but Ben Curry getting play. I mean, again, I think again, I'll get Joel and Steph's take on this in a minute. I think Ben Curry has been recognised outside of Warrington that the shift to loose forward has been a good move for him. So it might not come as a massive surprise to people outside the club, but I think most people around the league and in the stands would have thought Dufty to take it off, really.
Yeah, well, personally, I think we've extolled that these awards, Man of Steel awards, should go to more forwards, should be to the players in the engine room rather than the flair players. I mean, Matt Dufty and George Williams are up for it as well. But I'm quite glad that Ben Curry's been recognised for kind of his loyalty to the club. And there was a period before Sam Burgess came along when Curry was taking pelters from Warrington fans for poor performances. So he's really, really turned it around this year. I'm quite glad. I'm quite glad for Ben Curry that he's got the recognition he deserves, to be honest.
Well, Craig Forth, going back to Hull, saying that the reason that didn't happen is they didn't want SAS to get the clean sweep. Joel, come to you. Ben Curry, Warrington, Player of the Year. Thoughts?
I thought Ben Curry's had a very good season.
Yeah,
I don't want to take anything away from him. He's really, really played well. He's taken my scruff at neck and really shown just how much talent he's got. But I would say, and this is something I've never really understood about Player of the Year. It's nice that they get to have a say, but really that should go hand in hand.
It does go hand in hand. Steph, do you want to help him out?
I thought that was me.
No. Go on.
He must be trying my background on. No, I think Curry's had a great season, and like Reggie says, it improved as well from last season. So I can see why they've done it. But I think like players like Harrison and Nicholson have been great for Warrington as well. Yeah. If you're going to look at the forwards. And Matty Ashton, obviously, on the wing, not got to where he was last season in terms of tries, but still been, fantastic. And Thulis as well, I think, had a great season.
Let's do that. Let's go through because there's a few. I mean, you can see there, Baz Kingston, and I agree with Baz. Like Dean Hadley, an unsung hero for many, Ben Curry this season. Steve Cartledge talking about the difference that Roderick Tyers made to the right edge of Warrington's defence. Couldn't agree with him more on that this year. Danny Walker was Joe Dalgreen's pick this year, which is interesting. Here he comes. He's coming back in. There you go, Joe. Some interesting comments around that. It has to be said, and then we'll go back to Hull because last night, and I actually watched it, and unlike last year's Man of Steel Awards, it's really well put together award ceremony from Hull. I really enjoyed watching it. Mikey Lewis, though, not coming out with much. He came second in the Players Player and the Player of the Year award. The Players Player went to Dean Hadley, and the Player of the Year went to Elliot Minchella. Joel, seeing as though you're back, Elliot Minchella, Player of the Year at Hull KR.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
I don't. He probably lost connection before I got a chance to say it. Was my point with the Players Player and the Player of the Year award. It's nice that they get to have a say, but for me, it should go hand in hand because the players usually are the ones that know who have played the best all year. Yeah. So really, if it was up to me, I'd scrap one of them or combine them.
Right.
So yeah, I think Minchella's had a really good year.
Traditionally, the coaches, isn't it? So Players Player tends to be the coaches, and then there's the Players Player that sees the players.
Yeah, but I think it'd just be good to amalgamate them both together because I think that the players should have a say in who's the Player of the Year because they're the ones who are playing with them each week.
Yeah. I'd take your point. Greg, Elliot Minchella, I know you're a fan of his.
Yeah, no issues with that at all. Same with Ben Curry and Dean Headley as well. It's good to see people from the engine room getting these awards.
Yeah.
They set the platform for how well you win the game. So I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy to see players like this getting the plaudits they deserve.
Dawn Kirby says she voted for Mikey Lewis. She loved Ryan getting, I think he got the outstanding contribution, something like that, lifetime achievement, achievement award. They gave him a pat on the back for his services to KR. And to be fair to Ryan, he from a stature perspective, Steph, he elevated KR, didn't he? And I think the fact that Ryan Hall was there probably attracted other players to go as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you want those kind of players in your team, like Ryan, because it's a bit like Asiata at Leigh, and you know they set the professionalism and the tone for the team for the season. In terms of the play, I mean, Minchella's been outstanding. He was outstanding last season as well. For me, Mikey Lewis was the player of the year for KR, but I would have definitely had Minchella second.
Yeah, well, I like that one. Mini Cheddar is a beast. I like that. Mini Cheddar. I've not heard of that one before. Outstanding. And Craig Forth, he says, the headlines, but Minchella puts in the work. Sorry for the spelling. What's a H between friends, Craig, is what I would say, sir. What is a H between friends? So there you go. Those are the current awards that have been given out at the clubs. We'll keep an eye on that. There'll be more to come over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, as I think the boys have quite rightly said, good to see the likes of Dean Hadley, Ben Curry getting a shout out. Very well done to them. Right, in more solemn news, ladies and gentlemen, London Broncos, or should it be Booking Broncos, because they're jumping off at a rate of knots. David Hughes announcing this week that he will be leaving the club, that he will leave it debt-free, but he is getting rid of the club. Steph, this is a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who's been in the game, I think 27 years, and of which they've only spent 7 years outside of Super League, which I was quite surprised about. To lose someone financially more than anything out of our game is a kick, but the person he is as well, you know, he's stuck by London thick and thin. So we can't, as a sport, afford to lose people like that who've got that commitment. You know, when you look, how long did Richard Branson last there? You know, when he, you know, it was, with all his billions. But no, it's really sad. It's sad for London. Hopefully, I mean, the only positive in that statement is that he's going to leave it debt free, which gives it a good for someone to come in. It's an investable product, but that's the only positive I can draw from it. We can't afford to lose people like that from our game, and it's just very, very sad, I think, for London particularly.
Well, Dawn Baker and Tom Mackey, both Super League Raw members there, saying who can blame him. Bazza Kingston there thinks it's the end of the London Broncos. Greg, my fear is they could be right there.
Yeah, echo exactly what Steph said. I think it's such a shame that somebody who's put so much time and investment into the game and to promote it in the capital, when you know people are crying out for expansion of the game. I think it's sad. I hope it's not the end of the London Broncos. I think somebody said at the game on Friday night that they've only got 7 contracted players for next season now.
Yeah,
we're going back down into the Championship. What a shame.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing, Joel, and you know, for me now personally, if ever you were going to put a cheeky offer into Mike Eccles to be your director of rugby league, now might not be a bad time to do it, mate.
Yeah, we're actually not looking at getting a director of rugby league. They don't want to go down that route. So we've got some other structures that are going to be put in place. But certainly, yeah, he would be a good one to take up that type of role at Huddersfield that they're going to have. But yeah, I think anybody who would put in for Eccles would be in for a good shout. But also on the flip side, you know, it doesn't always have to be bad news. There may be a London supporter somewhere that is filthy rich that nobody knows about, and they want to take over.
Well,
and if they do,
yeah,
that would be incredible.
Well, I hope you're right, but all I would say is like the Wimbledon pitch, I've got a sinking feeling. That's all I'm saying there.
See that pitch?
I did see that pitch. Imagine if there was a game on when that happened. For those of you who don't know, go and have a look at the Cherry Red Records pitch. There's been a little bit of a landslip due to all the weather they've been having. I just want to quickly go back to this comment from Bazza Kingston. Absolutely right, Bazza. Phil Lowe last night was celebrated at the Hull KR end of season dinner, and they are going to be naming, I believe, a road, the road on the way to the stadium, the Phil Lowe Way. That's a fitting tribute to a legend of the game, a Robins legend without doubt, following in the footsteps of some other legends like Sir Michael Gregory and of course a certain man called Sale. Happy days, good times.
It's a massive honour that. I know exactly how his family must feel with that.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Great honor, and richly deserved. Richly deserved. Right, the last bit of news that's caught my eye, and then I'll open it up, is we talked about this last week. Danny Walker. I said he wouldn't go away, and Danny has come out and said if you get the opportunity to go over to the NRL, it's something you have to listen to, and I'm no different to anyone else. So Danny Walker is open to an NRL move. We said 50 grand's not a lot of money. He said he's proud to play for his hometown team. He'll give 100%, and we would expect him to do that. And of course, I'd expect that if he did go to the NRL, he would eventually come back to Warrington if they wanted him. But I think Warrington have got a number 9 problem next year, Greg.
May well have. If Canberra want the player, Warrington are playing hardball, but there's going to come a time when Canberra are going to maybe make an offer that Warrington simply can't refuse.
Yeah,
they could have, although this season we've seen some young kids promoted to the first team who haven't looked out of place.
Yeah,
we've got a good young hooker in the reserves there who may well step up and do a job that Kai Taylor-Ray and Lindop have done this season. So it'd be a shame to lose Danny Walker, but you can't stand in a player's way.
No,
they want to go and chance their arm in the NRL.
It's the pinnacle of our sport, and you know, I'd be the first to shake him by the hand and wish him well on that journey. Like I said, I think the door would always be open to him. I think the only thing here, Joel, is that, you know, from a Warrington perspective, having, you know, allowed Darrell Clark to leave to Saints, and one of the big reasons for that was salary cap. They did offer Clark money. Clark wanted more. They knew Danny Walker was probably going to be starting 9. They'd give Danny his head this year. They could lose him. If they did lose him at the end of the year, I think it'd be pretty hard for him to swallow, albeit Leyland's coming in, and as Greg says, there's some really good academy prospects in the same mould as Kai Taylor-Ray and Lindop that could potentially come up. Ben Hartill springs to mind on that one. Your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I think for Warrington to be up there and stay up there as the clubs with like your Wiggins, they've got to trust your young players, and you've got to give them that chance. And I think under Burgess, I don't know of any other coach in the world probably right now who would be better to do it under. He'd help nurture them and mould them into that 9 that he wants for the team. And then if Danny decides he wants to come back at some point, the option will be there, and he'll be a much better player for it. So, yeah, there's a big opportunity at Warrington, and I think it's time that he puts his money where his mouth is and says that he's going to try some of these youngsters, because he said that recently on an interview, didn't he? That he's got.
Yeah, well, he has. You know,
he has done.
Holwood's got young player of the year. Taylor-Ray, Lindop, has come through this year. There's been other players that have, Max Wood's just been given a new contract. Simon Shaw, we've given you a massive shout out. Don't know if you missed it. Our new, one of our new members, and he says there it's next up mentality like Wigan, but he believes he made some great steps forward, and well done for that one. Steph, call me cynical. We all expect Burgess to return to the NRL in 2 years' time. I wonder how many of these young Warrington players he's saying, you just hang on. I'll look after you when I go back to South Sydney.
I think you're being cynical there, Dave.
But it could be happening, couldn't it? It could be happening.
Yeah, it could. But why not? Especially the younger players like your Taylor-Rays and Lindops and players like that. I'm sure he is saying and using that as motivation for them as well. Yeah. But on Danny Walker, I mean, you've got Powell, haven't you, for next season? So he'd probably be your starting hooker. But I mean, if you're going to get a 200 grand fee for him, then if I was Burgess, I'd be going up knocking on Hulk A's door and saying, how much do you want for what's he called? Who's the other hooker? Jez Litton.
Well, the thing is, Marcel hasn't shown his hand where he's going yet.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I think he's got another year in him, maybe. But I think because of Powell, Warrington would want a younger one. I mean, Leyland, I think, has got it in him to slot in at 9. But it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. You don't want to.
And you can't underestimate the influence Sam Powell has had on Danny Walker. No. I think he's been a steadying influence on Danny Walker this year. I really do. So more so than Daz Clark, really, who left to win trophies. But moving on.
Do you know what? That could come and bite you on the backside.
It will bite me on the backside.
That could really. Alex, that hasn't been confirmed. Parcell has not said yet if he is retiring or not, or at least not that I've heard. Maybe Don in the chat, Don Kirkby, can give us a steer on that. But anyway, that's about it from a high level news. At this time of year, the news tends to die down until after the playoffs. Don't forget, Super League Raw will continue throughout the winter months. That's right. We need your support, though. We've given Simon Shaw a big shout out, and Josh Grimes. Josh Grimes is already a member, but he's just upgraded. Oh, yes, that's what Josh has done tonight. He can't join again, but he can upgrade. He's loving a bit of Super League Raw. Don't forget, scan that QR code. Come and join the best community. We're going to be sitting together at the grand final. Oh, it's going to be outstanding. Loads of good stuff on the way. And I actually said to Steph, during the course of the winter months, we are going to be having a knockout competition with the members. That's right. More to follow on that, but we will be having a knockout competition with all the members to see who has got the best knowledge going into next year. A quiz night is one thing, but going up against your peers in a pressure cooker situation is another. More on that nearer at the time. And we are expecting some guests during the winter months as part of Super League Raw Weekly. So don't you go anywhere. We're doing it bigger. We're doing it better. You need to be a part of this community. Right, let's move on. Lots to get through tonight. We're going to now look at who is the coach of the month for the month of September. We're not going to procrastinate on this one. It's a real simple one. It is Matt Peat of the Wigan Warriors. It had to be 3 wins from 3, 126 scored, only 20 conceded, and that is what has got the Wigan Warriors the league leaders shield. So Matt Peat gets this September one. And many people say, well, September's not over. It's the regular season. That's how it always works. I saw today that Super League have announced their top 6 players for September. They're doing the same thing as Greg opens up a can. No dramas there. Enjoy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening indeed. So Matt Peat is going to be our coach of the month. Gentlemen, nobody's got any arguments with that. Can we just move on?
Yeah.
No arguments.
Because the next one is what everybody does always look forward to. We're now going to announce the team of the month for the month of September. This is something that I know everybody looks forward to. All the painstaking analysis has been done. And my mate off YouTube who says that I had no right to talk about Matty Leigh because I hadn't seen Saints every game. I think, forgive me, gentlemen, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I'll tell you now, there's not a single minute of rugby league I haven't watched in this hemisphere this year. I've watched every single Super League game. And let me say to my friend, Matty Leigh, he's not in the dream team. Anyway, we'll move on. Here comes the team of the month for the month of September. So there you go, the team of the month of September. Before we get the chaps to talk about it, for those who are listening on the podcast, I'll just go through it for you guys. At fullback is Jai Field. On the wings, Matty Ashton and Liam Marshall. In the centres, Ricky Latelli and Jake Wardle. The halfbacks, Bevan French and George Williams. The prop forwards, Jesse Sue, or Siaso Sue, whichever one you say, and Robbie Mulhern. Hooker is Matt Parcell. Second row, Junior Nsemba and Matty Nicholson. Loose forward, Ben Curry. On the bench, Mikey Lewis. Mikey played a multitude of positions, didn't have one position. Played, of course, fullback at the league game, but he was in the team of the week, team of the month last month. Cade Ellis, who I think's been outstanding at loose forward. He had a brilliant September. Dean Hadley. Here's one for you, gents. Dean Hadley played 3 games in 3 different positions, prop, second row and loose forward, and he played superbly in each one. And Kai O'Donnell, there you go. Kai O'Donnell is at 17. I'll start with you, Greg. Team number for September. Happy with that one?
Yeah, as usual, Dave. Pretty closely, not spot on there. And, Ben Curry's in there. We were talking about Ben Curry and Player of the Year. He's in there, so he's had a good final few months of the season as Ben Curry.
Yeah.
Jake Wardle again. I mean, Jake Wardle has been, again, that word, consistent all season. And Bevan French has been outstanding, absolutely outstanding in these, the last 2 or 3 games. Yeah. Back to his best.
Yeah, absolutely. Joel, not surprisingly, no Huddersfield players, my friend. But your thoughts on the team of the month?
There's literally no complaints with that, and it's nice to see that there's certain players getting repeat chances in the team of the month that weren't in there at all last year. You look last year and you almost hardly ever saw a Warrington player in there, and there wasn't many Hull KR players, and now they tend to make up most of the the team of the weeks and months, don't they? Because they're playing so well. And it shows that age doesn't mean anything, because Ricky Latelli is at back-to-back now.
Ricky Latelli is back-to-back team of the month, as is Matthew Ashton, Mikey Lewis, and Kai O'Donnell.
So it just shows, doesn't it, that consistency of these players, not just week in, week out, but month in and month out. Yeah, it's good.
And Steph, you'll be pleased to see a little bit of a Leigh contingent in there.
Yeah, well, I think they had to be with the form that Leigh have been in. But saying that, we did lose in this month to KR, so I think we're 2 from 3 in September. I think the Wigan contingent in the backs particularly stands out, doesn't it? And that's no coincidence, given how well they've done towards the back end of the season there. It's very good to me. You wouldn't mind that as your starting lineup on week 1 in 2005, would you?
You wouldn't know. And Mark Smith saying, I put his comments up on the screen. There must have been some hard calls in there. There was, mate. There was. I mean, for example, Petter Hickey, another really strong month in terms of September. I'll tell you, if Jimmy Harrison had played the first game in September, Jimmy Harrison in the last 2 games at Warrington has been ripping it up. Morgan Knowles at Saints has had a really solid September as well. There's been some really good quality performances in there. But do you know what? I think, as always, me, I'll back my research. I back what my eyes see. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I've watched every single game. I leave nothing to chance. That's what I do in order to put this show together for you. I will stand by that team. So I'm going to put it back up in a minute, because you know what you're going to be doing later on. Don't do it yet. Just have a little think and do it later when I ask. But one of those 1 to 13 is going to be the player of the month for September. And that player will get 3 additional points. Remember, the Super League Raw Trophy. All of these players have got 2 points for being in the team of the month. They got a point if you're in team of the week. They get a point, a 3-2-1 during, exactly like the Goldthorpe and the Man of Steel. But of course, we also give 3 points to the player of the month. That's what we'll be announcing at the end of the show. Which one of those 1 to 13s would you not on the bench? Not the bench. And if you don't see the name, don't bother putting it in the chat, because they can't win it. Okay, it's one of those 1 to 13 that you're looking at right there will win the Super League Raw player for the month of September. So have a think about it. Which one of those players gets your vote? And with that, let's have a little rest. Let's do top performers, shall we? He says. Actually, oh dear me. I say let's do top performers. I haven't got top performers. That's a bit poor on my part, isn't it? That is shocking. I haven't got top performers. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that coming. I will have it. I will get it. I'll just download it now while we're doing the show. I haven't got the top performers ready. So whilst we've not got top performers ready, what we're going to do? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a quick chat while that's coming up.
I'll tell you what I did see today, Dave. Sorry to interrupt you. Social media. Apparently, the RFL is looking at some rule changes next year.
They are tomorrow. In fact,
Captain's challenge.
That's a definite.
Taking away the try, no try decision from the ref,
which we've been calling for.
Yeah, looking at double movement.
Yes.
What do you mean by that? I don't know. And the other one is changing the rules about tackling in the air, because apparently it's illegal to tackle a defensive player in the air catching the ball, but you can tackle an attacking player. If a player runs through to catch a kick, you can tackle them in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at change that, and there was a couple of others which I can't remember.
But forgive me, my understanding of that is that they're going to do away with the defensive one, not do away with the offensive one.
Yeah.
So
which to me, if you're looking at players' welfare, that you're tackling a defensive player in the air, any player in the air, and we're looking at player welfare. There's a bit of double standards there.
Well, there's not, because it's exactly the same as tackling an attacking player in the air.
Oh, yeah, but
you couldn't possibly ban that.
Damage to a player, tackle him in the air when the player comes down. But having said that, the thing that interested me was that they did say they might not be looking to bring any further changes to tackle heights.
No, Yeah.
kind of pleased me a little, because if they bring it any lower, you will have defenders crawling on all fours.
I think to be honest with you, mate, I think the feeling I'm getting is that they're quite pleased with the progress that have been made this year, and I don't think that there'll be much change. And anyway, well done, Greg, because that is what they call in the industry fill-in. Because here comes the top performers from round number 27.
Here are your top performers from round number 27 of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorers this week with a magnificent hat-trick are Matty Ashton of the Warrington Wolves and Jai Field of the Wigan Warriors. The most try assists came from the England captain, George Williams, with 3 for the Wire. Whilst the top meter maker was Tui Lolohea of the Huddersfield Giants with 238, some of them coming for his magnificent try. The top tackle buster was the returning Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 14. Whilst the most clean breaks came from Jai Field with 5 for the Warriors. The most offloads was once more Herman SA of Hull FC with 5. Whilst the top hard meter maker, and didn't he run hard, it was Robbie Mulhern of the Leigh Leopards, 144. The top tackler was Dean Hadley of the Robins with 53. Whilst the most goals came from Adam Kieran with 10 for the Wigan Warriors. These were your top performers for round number 27 of the Betfred Super League.
It's always emotional this time of year. That's the last top performers of 2024. That will be back next year for 2025. This is the league table. Of course, the Wigan Warriors League Leaders' Shield winners. Robins in second. The Wolves against the Saints. The Red Devils against the Leopards. And the Broncos, unfortunately for them, remain bottom of the pile. That is pretty much how the season has come and it has gone. This weekend, not an awful lot really to discuss, other than I'm really pleased that the match review panel haven't given anybody any bans, and we're going to see some pretty solid team selections, I would have thought, in the first round of the eliminations.
Yeah, barring injuries. Hopefully. I think that's what everybody wants to see in terms of the best sides going against each other with the full squad. So fair play on the disciplinary panel for seeing sense this week.
Happy days indeed. So anyway, the regular season has come and gone. The tries, I don't really want to talk about the results because it is now in the record books. There's nothing to talk about. We know exactly what's happening. We'll continue to assess each individual team's performance over the course of the season, final whistling during the winter as we go through it. But the tries this week, we picked the top 5. They're available to watch on our Facebook page. I'll post them again later in the week because they're all good. I was talking to Joel prior to. At 5 was Tommy Makinson. Now, there was a lot of tries that went in at the corner. Davis, Gary. The reason I chose Makinson's, they were behind by 2 scores, and he did so well, didn't he? To just keep his body in play and get one down. Then it was the leading try at Wigan at 4th. Nice setup. Quite easy, but nice how they constructed it out the right-hand side. Then the Latelli one, if nothing more from the Matt Moylan play. I mean, they're dummy. And then the delivery. Hey, that's what you pay to see. Beautiful. Oh, Matty Moylan, lad, take a bow. He couldn't catch a coal last week, and then he goes and produces magic like that. Outstanding. Speaking of magic, Joel, Tui Lolohea got second. Beautiful individual skill.
Well, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to you, that could be up there with try the season possibly. With
the French mould, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I feel like since he's had his renewal of his contract, he's really taken on that role. He's trimmed himself down, and look what he can do. It's amazing. It's like he's back at Salford again. He's playing some really good rugby. Just a question, this maybe for those in the chat. Would you say, because this is something we were discussing, weren't we, Dave, before? I put Tui's try at the top, not because I'm a Giants fan, but because I personally like individual brilliance sometimes, whereas some people like a team-based effort, a really well-worked try. So just for those who are in the chat, what would you say that you go for? Do you prefer the individual brilliances, or do you prefer to go for, a well-worked try throughout the team?
Look at that, Joel, playing to the gallery. Outstanding stuff, Joel. We were talking about this, me and Joel, before, because, of course, I put Aaron Lindops as the number 1. And, Lolohea's it was superb. You know, I mean, Castleford did a chip over the top, and it was like, Lola, what are you doing, lads? I'll show you how you do this. Here, have a bit of this. Whoa, yes. And all they saw was the dust off his boots. But then the Lindop one, I love the construction of it. Started on the left, it moves across to the right. Williams kicks it to Fewlis. Fewlis, he goes behind Fewlis, and by the time Fewlis has got the ball, Williams has come right across the pitch to get the next ball and set him off down the right-hand side. Then, of course, he passes it inside to Lindop, who still had a lot to do to score the try. He's only 18 as well. I just thought the construction of that was really good, and that's why I picked that one over the individual genius that was Lollahea. But you know what, Joel? You if you were putting it together, you'd put Lollahea, and I'd have no arguments. I think they were both great tries, but I just like the construction of the Lindop one.
And that was a great try. I've got to admit, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was.
I think on that, Joel, going back to that point about team tries or individual brilliance, I think a lot of it depends on who you're playing, and a lot of it depends on how important that try is to the game.
True.
So if you're 50-0 up and you can try individual brilliance and it comes off, fair play. But if you're kind of up against the opponent, like St Helens or Wigan or, you know, whoever away, and you're 4 points down and you try that individual brilliance, Leigh, then, you know, then I think it counts some more. So I get what you're saying. I just think it's at the time of the game that it happens. It's the importance of the try, and it's your opponents that kind of decides what kind of a try.
Great talking point.
Hold the presses, because the word here has got to go to Mark Smith. He's absolutely right. They're both a joy to watch. Good lad, Mark. That's a great comment. That's what we're talking about. It doesn't matter how they scored. If they're easy on the eye and they get us off the seat, that is all that matters. That's what we like to see. That's what our community is about. No matter which shape or size, it's all good in the crib. Steph, your thoughts on the tries this weekend?
Yeah, they're all great top five selection, and a bit of on the theme of what we're talking about, a bit of mix and match of both, wasn't it? So some good team tries and some individual brilliance. So it's what we pay our money for, to see tries, but also bone shaking defence. I would mention as well. You know, in terms of some of the hits this weekend that we've seen, particularly from Edwin Apape, you should take a bow for his defensive effort against.
Well, all I would say there, Steph, is that Wimbledon are suing Leigh because they're putting the Apape hits down for their landslip. That's what they're doing. You could hear the shudders and the quakes all the way at the Cherry Red Record Stadium. They're not happy at all with young Edwin, but what an incredible hit or two. And Latella, let's not forget Latella. He put some big shots on as well. This is an emotional moment because we've come to the final team of the week of 2024. And all I would say to you, gentlemen...
How did that happen?
I don't know, but all I will say to you, I hope you like a musical or two, because I was brought up on this musical. Let's go out in some style. The Super League Raw Team of the Week is proudly sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. Join the rugby league community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting or selling property.
It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 27 with the Good Estate Agent for 2024. Here we go again for the last time this season. And let's start at the very beginning. The fullback's a very good place to start. And their breakers alive with the flair of Jai Field. Back on form. His lines were exceptional throughout. Sensational. On the wing is Matty Ashton with 2 hat-tricks in 2 weeks. He tried to climb the mountain of the top try-scoring chart but came up just short. But will he find his dream of a grand final win this season? We will have to wait and see. At 3 is Petter Hiku with a crucial display for the Robins to secure second. Cream-coloured ponies and crisp apple strudel, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, and yes, of course, in 2024, Petter will be one of my favourite things. At 4 is the man who started the season 17 and was going on 18, Mr. Aaron Lindop, a sensational try versus the Broncos. It's just a taster of what is to come from this future England international. At 5 is the man high on the hill and on his own, the top try scorer of 2024, Liam Marshall, with 2 more, taking him to 27 this year. What a season he's had. Odelay, hee-hoo! At 6 is Bevan French, who once again went far with a long way of running. It's rumoured that he went home and had his tea, a drink with jam and bread. That brings us back to 7, who is George Williams, who has had his best season to date in the Primrose and Blue. You could say he has popped out to say cuckoo this year, and he's not saying so long farewell just yet. At 8 is the Colossus Robbie Mulhern, who took the game to the Saints at the LSP. There was no play clothes on show here, folks. Oh no, just pure business attire that led his troops as impressively into battle as Captain Ron Trapp himself. At 9 is Edwin Ipapa, whose brutal defence shook the Saints to their very core. This is one wave that the Leopards will be keeping on the sand for 2025, and we are delighted. At 10 is James Harrison of the Warrington Wolves, who took his try-scoring tally to 7 in all comps this year. The Wire fans are hoping he continues to bloom and grow, and may he bless the Halliwell Jones forever. At 11 is once more Young Player of the Year elect Mr. Junior in December. It must be like a door biting or a bee stinging every time you get run at by the big man. He has confidence every game that he'll put his opposition to the test, and doesn't he do well? At 12 is Sam Hewitt of the Giants, who once more showed why Super League Raw rate him so highly. Perhaps he has a wicked childhood, perhaps he had a miserable youth, but one thing is sure, he's having a ball in Super League, and we are all standing there loving him. And finally, for the first time this season at 13, is John Asiata, and the Saints must be asking, how do you solve a problem like Asiata, as he always raises his game for the Medbee. His first half performance was his best of the season, ensuring he set the course for a Leopards win. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your final team of the week for 2024.
It's time to get the hankies out. It is, I'm emotional. It's the end of team of the week. To
be fair, Dave. Dave.
Let's go on, Greg.
I thought that was a load of on trap, to be honest.
Did you? Oh, well, not to worry. I'll get you a bunch of Edelweises. That'll make you happy. Greg Roach, he's absolutely devastated that Team of the Week has come and gone from for another year. And I think Andy B is saying, shut your on trap. Hopefully he's saying that to you, Roger, is what I would say.
I was joking, guys.
Margaret Seddon is simply in awe. She's wowing the fact that perhaps two of her greatest passions, the sound of music and rugby league, were put into the one. And Dawn Kirkby says it superbly. Super League is alive with the sound of music, especially at the Leigh Sports Village, who have done a great job yet again this season of bringing us some great musical entertainment. Here it is, gentlemen, the final team of the week of round number 27. Steph, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible that we're actually at round 27. Where has that time gone? Well, it seems like 2 minutes ago we were previewing the start of the season. So yeah, and some incredible team of the weeks there. Credit to you, Dave. Very, very entertaining as always. So well done on that. On the players, great to see my Leopards in there. I think from a forward dominance display. And I know one of our members, Richard, was saying that the forwards of Saints were going to do a job on us. Well, I think it was reversed in that game. So well done to our boys, but particularly the two wingers. I think for me on this one, Ashton and Marshall, both been outstanding, and great to see Bevan French back in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Robbie Mulhern, his runs were brutal.
Yeah,
as good as Ipape and Latelli's tackles were. Robbie Mulhern's runs, no fear. I mean, no respect. He's got no respect for his own body, Robbie Mulhern, at all. Greg, 4 Warrington players. I mean, dear me, we go back the last 2 seasons. Dear me, you'd be lucky if you got one, but it's fair to say, brilliant hat trick from Ashton. Williams on song yet again. Lindott, what a future this kid's got. And for me, we talk about unsung heroes. What a season James Harrison has had.
It's been immense. It's been absolutely immense, James Harrison. And like you're saying, we'd have been lucky to get 4 Warrington players in the whole of the last 2 teams of the year or teams of the week, whatever. Margaret has said in the chat saying, wow. I think that was Kate Bush, Margaret. But
Babushka. Carry on.
Well, there's one for next year.
Absolutely.
Surprised that John Asiata in there for the first time. Is that right?
John Asiata's first appearance of the season, believe it or not, in Team of the Week. You wouldn't believe it, would you?
No. But he has had injuries, etc. Yeah. Like Steph says, Bevan French has been superb. Ashton and Marshall, surely the best 2 wingers in the comp at the minute.
Yeah.
So and Mulhern. How sorry I am that Warrington decided he didn't have a future with them. Warrington's loss has been Leigh's gain, as far as I'm concerned.
100% Reggie.
He's been class for Leigh the last 2 seasons.
Absolutely
Joe, brilliant. To you. Sam Hewitt, Joe. I mean, again, you won't see Sam in many Team of the Weeks, but we recognise talent when we see it. He's had a great season for you in second row, hasn't he?
He has. He's not he's been a bit in and out with injuries and the odd suspension here and there. But for those who don't watch Huddersfield, I'm sure Greg and Freddie will agree with me, and Ryan, that Sam is going to be a future star at Huddersfield.
Yeah,
he's done it the hard way. He's had to wait a long time to get his shirt. Now he's got it. He's a quality player. And this week, especially being the last week, has got some of my favourite players in the league in that team there. And I've got to make an admission at the start of the season, I wasn't that keen on Robbie Mullen, but as the season's gone on, I've just grown to really like him, and I quite admire him. I think his work ethic and work rate is up there with the best of them, and
absolutely happy days. Yeah, a bit of sport going on in the chat. Phil Webster saying Warrington only played London. Look, same goes for every team in Team of the Week. Everybody's played London and only played London. I think it's been very harsh considering how competitive they've been. Tom Mackey serving back, saying that they can only play what's in front of them, whether it be Salford kids or London. So yeah, bottom line is that's the Team of the Week. Yes, Alex, that will probably take Warrington picks in Team of the Week to about 11.7, maybe 12%. It's still well below where anybody can call it bias, my friend. But thank you very much for your fishing exploits. I hope you enjoyed catching that carp. Anyway, we now move on to other matters. We're now going to announce the first inductee of the 2024 Super League Raw Dream Team. Oh yes, the time has come. Here we go. Right, these were the contenders. We put this out on our Facebook page. Unlike other broadcasts who just pick their favourite player, it's about consistency. It's about what they do in the season, whether that be statistically or whether that be with the naked eye. Have they been game changers? Have they bossed their position in 2024? If you're not going to pick a dream team like that, well, we may as well pick the 2025 dream team now, ladies and gentlemen, if it's just a case of who's the best in their position in terms of their skill set and attributes. But the whole point of a team of the year is who has played best during that campaign. So these were the contenders. I just want a one-word answer. Steph, your fullback of the season?
Dufty.
Greg?
Dufty.
And Joe?
Dufty.
Shall we see who it is? Here we go.
Restart. Hayes gets it away to Williams. Short pass. They could be over. Dufty gets motion. They rush out of the line. Trying to close Dufty down. Dufty gets it away. Here's Williams. Williams over the line. Andy on mode. And it's Dufty. And it's a hat-trick. Into Curran. And Drinkwater helps it out to Williams. And then a lovely little pass. And Dufty suddenly sailing through. And Dufty's got support. But he doesn't need it. He was sailing underneath the sticks.
No other podcast does it like Super League Raw. That's why you want to become members. Come on, keep supporting us so we can make this show even better. There, his statistics there, right in front of your eyes, chaps. Matt Dufty, I'll get rid of the QR code for a minute. It's fair to say, I won't come to Greg because, of course, he'll be considered biased if he went on a rant. So I'll start with Joel. Matt Dufty, Joel, sum up his season as a Giants fan.
It's been a pleasure to watch. 5 games he's not played, and look at the meters that he's made. It's unbelievable. Tackle bus for such a small guy. He's played out of his skin. And if anybody says he should be playing the full year to get that accolade, I'll tell him to get lost, because he has been far above anybody else, in my opinion, at fullback.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Sharp says on average 3 tackles a game for a fullback is madness. Well, not really, because it just shows how well Warrington have played. Nice to see Alex picking out the one thing he can have a little bit of a nibble on. There goes his bait into the pond. Good lad. Steph, your thoughts on Mr. Dufty?
Yeah, he's been absolutely amazing. I think for me, if you look at the Warrington team from last year, this is the player who's improved most under Sam Burgess. I think whatever Sam's done or said or to him to give him the confidence. I think I mentioned it right at the beginning of the season. You could see him running from dummy half loads more. Whatever Sam's done, he's inspired that confidence in him to just, play as he sees it. And for me, he's been absolutely outstanding. I'd have loved to have seen him have a full season. It's a shame he had that injury. Was it a Magic weekend when he got injured?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I think he would have been right up there for Man of Steel, if not still already up there for Man of Steel. But I think he might just get pipped because of that injury to the back end of the season. But yeah, what a player he's been this year. Absolutely outstanding. And he's been a big factor in terms of why Warrington have turned it around from last year.
Spot on. I mean, Steve Cartledge, a Super League Raw member, in the chat saying that people around him in the stadium say how bad he is. Well, they don't know rugby league, Steve.
They don't know rugby league at all. If they
don't know rugby league, mate. If they think that Matt Duffy's a bad player this season. Greg, you've had the pleasure of watching him in the stands.
I have. Personally, I think Tompkins has been robbed there, Dave. But he'll get the Man of Steel award and the Sky award this year. No, Matt Duffy. Matt Duffy in his first season showed his potential, and then I think he suffered a little bit under Powell, whatever tactics were being used. And yeah, I can understand some fans being frustrated by him at times under the Powell regime, but like I think was it Steph said or was it Joel? I can't remember now. He has improved immeasurably under Sam Burgess.
Yeah,
absolutely superb and easily the best fullback in the comp this year.
Easily, not even close. It's not even close. But again, we've got people in the chat. We've got people in the chat, who've got tinted glasses on. So I'll tell you what, for the people on the podcast, let's just go through his stats as you can't see them. Matt Duffy this season, 22 appearances, 17 tries, 19 assists, 165 tackle busts, 24 clean breaks, 11 offloads, 69 tackles, 458 carries of the ball for 4,234 metres, the highest in Super League, averaging 9.24 a carry. Now, these were the people that he was up against. And yes, Field has played 18, only 4 games less. Evells has played 1 more. Moylan has made the same. So those who are saying, oh, well, the others were injured, Field was for 4. But when you compare and contrast the stats, this will be posted for those listening on the podcast onto our Facebook page tomorrow, so you can actually look at it, not only with the naked eye, but as those stats back up. It ain't even close, folks. It ain't even close. If you're not going to recognise the fact that Matt Duffy is the best fullback in Super League this year, then quite frankly, you're not watching rugby league. You're watching colours, and that's all I'm going to say.
Can I just say, Dave, that all this talk about the tackles that Duffy's made, the fullback role has changed so much in the last 10, 15 years. A fullback is no longer, is the last line of defence, but it's much more than that now. It's another halfback on the pitch. The role of fullback.
If you look at the tackles on that,
so much.
Greg, if you look at the tackles on that there,
Field
has made 54. If he did, which he'd probably be in and around with another 4 games. Duffy's 61 for Evells. The only one that has made more tackles is Matt Moylan at 176. You've got to remember that we had a lot of players out, so we had to tackle more.
Hasn't Moylan played in the centres as well?
No, he played standoff for quite a few games, so he's going to get targeted. So that's why Moylan's got so many. He was at least 4 or 5 games at standoff.
But look at tries. The tries are way above anybody else.
Correct. Even allowing for the full, because I know where people have got the blinkers on. Field's the best fullback in Super League on skill. Some will say it's Wells, but it's not about that. It's about who's played well this season. And every other position that we pick in our dream team will not be based on the jersey they wear. It will be based on have they been the best player in their position for not for their team across the league. That's why Matty Lees, you won't be seeing Matty Lees in our dream team, folks. I'll give you that spoiler right now. It won't be happening because he's not been the best first or second prop in Super League. It's as simple as that. So there you go. Matt Duffy, the first inductee of the Super League Raw Dream Team. There you go. There's more to come. There's one more announcement tonight, and then there'll be plenty more over the next couple of weeks. We'll load the show because we'll have less to talk about with more of our inductees. But Matt...
Bazza Kingston's comment, mate.
What's he said? Oh, good. Duffy was lucky that Iku moved to centre. Okay, Baz. Okay, mate. No problem.
Hickey was lucky he moved to centre.
Yeah, I think, absolutely. I think Hiku's delighted he was moved away from full back. Season he's had.
With fishing like that, we're going to need a bigger boat.
We are going to need a bigger boat. We're going to need a bigger show. Anyway, right, we're now going to start looking forward to the elimination playoffs. That's where we're going now. We're going to start looking forward to this weekend's massive 2 elimination playoffs. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. Here we go.
Love that crunch.
Let me add a little bit of spice.
So there you go, Rugby League 3/4, the Facebook page for all your betting chat on Facebook. Make sure you get over there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look ahead now to this weekend's 2 elimination games. Are we going to get some more members joining Super League Raw? A lot of people watching us tonight. Come on, there's loads of good stuff coming. Go and do that QR code. Go and have a look and see what the membership's all about. We're going right the way through winters, comps, prizes, gatherings. Oh, it's all happening at Super League Raw. You need to become a member. Right, okay. Let's where are we going to go? Let's get into this. Let's get into the week that is ahead. But before we do, let's dip into the prediction league, shall we? Just 5 games to go. This is the prediction league. I'm still top with 411. Then it's Gary Schofield with 395. He had a good week, did Schofield. Then it's Greg. Oh, Mr. Nixon's back up into third. 386 points for Greg. Then it's Joel, 383. Then Steph, 379. And the fans' form have been steadily closing the gap as well. Credit must go to them. They're on 358. But it's still all to play for with 5 games to go. That's where the prediction league looks. Have you been over to the fans forum page on Facebook to cast your votes? We hope that you have. Right, look, we're now at the business end of the season. It's time to get giddy. It's time to get excited because let's be fair, there's some belting games coming up starting this weekend. Let's go straight to the big one on Friday for the Salford Red Devils taking on the Leigh Leopards. This is going to be a belter of a game. It's 2-1 in the series this year to the Leigh Leopards. It started off so well for the Salford Red Devils at the Salford Community Stadium in round 6. They beat Leigh 32-22 all that time ago. Then it was the Leigh's turn to hit back in round 11, 40 points to 12. And who can forget Magic Weekend, 26-0 to Leigh. And if you remember, there's a sparkling try or two in that from the Leigh Leopards. 4 wins in the last 5 for the Leopards, 3 in the last 5 for Salford. We can't really cap. I mean, the Wigan one was a throwaway, let's be fair. 9-5 in Super League history now between these two. Look at the attacks. Both average 20 points a game. The difference is that Leigh have a better defence. They average conceding 14 to the Red Devils 20. The bookies at this moment in time have the Leopards' favourite 4-5. I mean, look, guys, this is a belter. I mean, you know, they both like to play attacking rugby league. Let's have a chat before we get into the predictions. I'm going to start with you, Greg. The power of the pack favours Leigh, doesn't it?
Yeah. What also favours Leigh is the fact that Salford rested so many players last week. I know some people might think, no, what you're talking about. I think, you know, it's been proved over a few seasons now that resting players doesn't necessarily work. The week off doesn't necessarily work. So I think that a pack size and the resting players, I don't think will do Salford any good, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. Joel, I'll come to you. Before Magic, Joel's gone. That's all I'll come to. Joel says gone. There you go. Don't take it off the screen for a minute, Dave. Everything's happening. Oh, he's back. Right, Joel. Right, before Magic Weekend, Joel, I was concerned. I don't know if Steph was concerned, but we talked at length about the McIntosh and Hanley combination going up against Salford's Cross and Tim Lafay. And that was a conversation we had before the Magic game. But actually at Magic, McIntosh and Hanley were superb. They handled them really, really well. Do you think that was a one-off? Do you think it can be replicated by McIntosh and Hanley? Who do you think will win the battle of the of that edge?
Well, it's a bit of an unknown quantity in a way because it's the less the experienced pair together. Not less experienced, but just playing together. But I think that can go in your favour because you've got two really, really quality players there. And obviously, as we saw, it worked really well. And I think with the amount of speed that you've got out of both of them, you may find that might post you a few more points, especially when it's playoffs, because, even though form does go into it, you kind of just throw the ball around because it's straight knockout rugby league.
Yeah.
So they're going to do everything they can to score. And so we're going to see less defence and more attacking, I think, in these playoffs now.
Well, Greg Roach in the chat here, Sky Bet offering 5-1 on Leigh and Saints double. Easy money. He sees it as Leigh and Saints coming through, which is interesting. There's a bit of value if you think Saints and Leigh are going to win on this one. Steph, fullbacks, both Briley and Moylan are prone to genius, but also are prone to the odd gaff every now and again. I mean, Moylan, if Moylan is the Moylan of KR, you're in trouble, aren't you? You can't afford Moylan to be in that form. Both Briley and Moylan, if they're on the game, especially in attacking phases, could easily be the game breakers, couldn't they?
Yeah, and I think not to excuse Moylan's gas, but I think the games where Moylan's played bad have been coming back from his rib injury, which we all know how tough they are. Not wanting to, take high balls or run the ball in kind of thing. I think we saw a different Matt Moylan against Saints, back to how he's been for most of the season. So yeah, we'll see. But Briley's always got a habit of haunting Leigh. But saying that, he got the old shepherd's hook at Magic because he wasn't having any impact whatsoever because we nullified him. So it'd be very interesting to see how Briley goes in this game. But I think the main worry from a Leigh.
Sorry, Steph, I can't hear you.
Well, as we saw at the Leigh game, the players definitely used that one as a motivation when they came to the LSV, didn't they? I remember Lockie Lamb giving it the old thingy back. So yeah, let's hope he's doing that again this weekend. But I think from looking at Salford, I think the main concern from a Leigh perspective is Salford's home form this season has been outstanding. Even in the games when they've lost, then it's been very, very close there. So it's definitely an advantage. But I believe there's going to be a massive Leigh contingent going over. So hopefully it'll feel a bit like a home game for Leigh in a very, very similar stadium to the LSV.
Well, Greg, if you're interested, I'm thinking of making a pilgrimage to Salford on Friday night to watch this one.
Do you know what? I would have done, but I've been invited to a 21st.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful.
Reggie.
Disgraceful. What I would say, let's go back to Reggie. So we said Leigh had potentially the advantage in the pack. If this becomes a tight tactical game where kicking dictates, it's advantage Salford, because what we've seen from Leigh is they haven't got kickers really that cause problems, whereas we know that the Albert Goldthorpe medal winner, Mr. Sneed, if he's on, and he showed that against Wigan where, he showed his brilliance, but also a bit of stupidity against Wigan at Salford. But up until that dropout, Sneed was the difference against Wigan. So
yeah, and I think that the job, I think the job that Salford have to do is to nullify Sneed.
Yeah,
which is easier said than done.
Yeah,
it's a real interesting this one, isn't it? It's yeah. It is.
Paul Francis is in the chat and he's made a really good point. If you go into not the main stand, the opposing stand, £15 for a halfway line ticket. If you like your rugby league, why aren't you going to Salford this time?
Just on that point, I mean, for Leigh members, we get £5 off. So to go behind the goals, I think was a tenner as a member. So I know we're going as a family of 4, and it's cost us £32 for a family of 4. Fantastic.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
£32 to watch the finest sport on earth played by two very attractive sides. It's almost like watching Charlize Theron on a Dior advert. It's that attractive. Anyway, nothing wrong with a bit of Charlize. Nothing wrong with a bit of Charlize. And for you ladies out there, just think of Daniel Craig walking out of the sea in Casino Royale.
I'll have to take a quick drink there, Dave.
Take a quick drink now. What's up, Joel?
depending on how results go on Friday, one of these teams may be of one of me tips for the grand final.
You heard it here first. We'll discuss that in great detail. Right, a little bit different because we've had the time to do it. We've asked some really good questions there. The panel, we've gone into a bit of detail. The last thing here, though, is I'll come back to Steph because it's your team. If McDonald and Lafay are at 100% effective on their game, are you concerned?
I think you're always concerned with those two centres. I would be looking at Lafay as a potential replacement for Leigh. So that's how highly I rate
it. Is that an exclusive?
No. But where would I get any information like that? No, but
it reverberated off the bus stop, mate. I just thought you might.
No. It's more the fact that they've got Masters coming in and McDonald contracted. So you can't. 3 doesn't fit into 2, unfortunately, at Salford. But you never know; they may keep hold of it. I don't know. But no, in terms of those two, obviously McDonald brought over by Leigh. So very highly rated by Leigh as well in terms of players. They're 2 very dangerous players, but look at how Latelli's. I think they'll be talking about Latelli this week in their video sessions and things like that. And also, if they're going to do video review on previous games, the most recent one was Magic, and like you rightly mentioned, McIntosh and Hanley made them look very ordinary. So,
on that, Steph, and Gareth O'Brien's done nothing wrong. I get the feeling Hardaker's time at Leigh's done, but the way Hardaker played at Magic, any temptation to put Hardaker back in for this one?
I think there would have been had Moylan not played so well against Saints.
Yeah,
I think that was his tester for this one, and at first I was still during the game I was very, very, very nervous, and there was a few points when he passed it to Charlie again, and I was thinking, oh God, here we go again. But yeah, if Moylan hadn't have played as well as he did, I think Hardaker's there. And he may even have had Hardaker on the bench like they did at Wigan when he first did his ribs as a potential. They may still do that. I don't know. But especially now, I think the biggest one for me is that Apapi played 80 minutes and they didn't use Dwyer against Saints. So they know Apapi can play 80 minutes, so then they don't need a hooker on the bench. So therefore, Hardaker may get a swan song in this one.
There you go. Right, before we go around the panel in terms of predictions, because we're at that point, great chat, great analysis. Wonderful. Enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that almost as much as I'm going to enjoy the game. Anyway, let's get into the members. Dawn Baker, she's gone Salford by 4. Callum Calvary's gone Leigh by 10. Craig Forth, Leigh 9-17. Good effort there. Bazza Kingston, he's going Leigh 18+. Alex Sharp, Leigh 9-17. He's going Tom Mackey, Salford 1-8. We are international. Craig Stanley is watching us all the way from Florida. Good evening to you, sir, or good morning, or whatever time it is over there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, indeed. Nicola Burtonwood, she always pops up when Leigh are around. She's gone Leigh 9-17. Freddie McGilvray, he's gone Leigh 1-8. Margaret Stedden saying Leigh by a mile. Wow. Greg Roach, Leigh 9-17. He's in there. Phil Webster, Salford 1-8. So a bit of love there for Salford. Laura Evans, first time seeing Laura's name, I think. 9-17 Leigh. Robert Higson, another member, Leigh 1-8. Getting all the members in. You've got to get all the members in. Dawn Kirkby, Leigh 9-17. Any more? Let's have a look. Andy Bibby, Salford 9-17. So that's interesting. Carla Louise is with us. Hello, Carla. To you. Nice to see you. 1-8, the Leopards. There's a surprise. Nicola Berman, 9-17. Leigh, I think we've done that one. Josh Grimes upgraded his membership this evening. Good lad, Josh. He's gone Leigh 1-8. There you go. Oh, who's that there? Salford by a drop goal. Daz Dean, another member. Salford by a drop goal. Wow. And Simon Shaw, new member, Leigh 1-8. Right, Gary Schofield has gone Salford 1-8. Vance Former's gone Leigh 9-17. I'm going Leigh 1-8 due to what they did last week. I think the pack, it's almost, for me, same again, boys. I think they've got to bully them down the middle and then out to the edges. And if they just play simple rugby league, play to the strengths down the middle, I don't think Salford can live with them down the middle. I really don't. Could be wrong. I mean, he's proved me wrong time and time again, Paul, this year. But I'm going to go Leigh 1-8. Reggie?
Yeah. This is more difficult to predict than you think. Salford at home. Salford have played really, really well at times this season. They've played awful at other times. Magic Weekend, for an example. They'll be looking to get one over on or back on Leigh for that display at Magic Weekend. I think this is like you said, I think this is the tale of the packs, and I think Leigh's pack will eventually see Leigh through. I could be tempted to go Golden Point. I'm not going to, though, because as petulant as this sounds, there'll be a big crowd there on Friday night. Probably the biggest crowd in there for a while at Salford. And I think that will be in Leigh's favour because they're used to that atmosphere. It'll be almost like a home game for Leigh. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to Salford and their fans.
We've lost him. Anyway,
why
he's back.
It doesn't fill up. 17.
Leigh 90-17. Fantastic. Joel, we've all come to Joel. Steve Cartley saying he's happy Warrington aren't playing Leigh. I think, I think there'll be a lot of teams at this moment in time are happy they're not playing Leigh. A lot of them are already sat down. Darren Jones, he's gone Leigh 1-8. Andy Bibby, exactly the point. Andy's saying that Salford have proven time and time again they can run around big packs. That is what they need to do. For me, what Leigh need to do is they need to bully him down the middle. They're the team. That's the strategy for me. Joel, your thoughts on this one, Chief?
The question for me is Leigh's pack going to be better than Salford's backs? So that's where the game's either going to be won or lost. Unfortunately, Mark Sneed's going to be kicking Leigh to death. But the pack just cannot keep up with Leigh. It's just ginormous. So I am going with a Leigh 1-8, and I don't think you could go outside of 1-8 either way, really. I know Greg has, but it's just, I just don't see it because the quality they've got, both of them, is just too great.
Yeah, well, the fans' form have gone 90-17 as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you Leigh Leopards fans, you might want to turn off now because all season, Steph has not backed Leigh, and I believe he's going to do it again tonight. He's going to go the opposition. Steph?
Yeah, well, like I said before, Dave, it's a lot of people have said no one wants to play Leigh at the moment. I don't think anybody wants to go to Salford away, based on their form there this season. And I get there's going to be a big Leigh contingent going. There is, but look at the ticket sales on the Salford website. There's a lot of Salford fans going to be there as well.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've got the most respect for with Salford fans, even at the Magic Weekend, they sung their hearts out. Even though they were getting beat by 26, they were there. They were probably singing louder than the Leigh fans. And that's for credit to them. They've had a fantastic season and fully deserve to be in fourth place when a lot of. They played the underdog mentality very, very well. At the start of the season, I think I remember Ryan Briley going on and they were predicting 11th. And he said anything above 11th, we'll take that as the next win for us and we'll see where we get to. Yeah. They ended up fourth. What a job Paul Rowley's done at that club with the limited resources he's got. Ultimate respect. Obviously a Leigh lad, so I will give him ultimate respect anyway. But in terms of a prediction, everyone at round 16, we were 9 points off the playoffs. Everyone wrote us off, said we'd got no chance. We've already won, this season for me. Finishing fifth, we've consolidated our place in Super League. We're going to go one step further. 1-8 Leigh.
1-8 Leigh. 1-8 Leigh. And Nicola Burton in the chat saying it was nice to bump into you, Steph, after the Saints game. Not half as nice as it was for Steph to bump into you, Nicola. He's still talking about it now. It was like Huddersfield cheerleaders. He was that excited. Anyway, what was he saying?
You got a good divorce lawyer, Steph.
It's not me. I told you they all want pictures with me.
Oh, the joy. Right, that's elimination playoff number 1 done. Now we go over to the Halliwell Jones Stadium. And let me tell you now, if any Warrington fan is going into this confident, take a look in the mirror. Because I'll tell you now, the writing is on the wall. Warrington have beaten Saints on all 3 occasions this season. Unbelievable on its own. That it's just Warrington have had a field day because that has been it's just unheard of, quite frankly. But there you go. Warrington come into this 4 wins out of the last 5. Saints 2 wins out of the last 5. It's 3rd against 6th. In Playoff Rugby League, it's 3-3. That's interesting. 3-3. So as much as you can see there, Saints 58-18 history over Warrington. When Warrington have been good enough to be in the playoffs, it's 3-3. So that's interesting. Really interesting. The attack this year, of course, Warrington the best attack in the league. They're averaging 27 points a game to Saints 22. And Warrington have got the best defence after 27 rounds, having only conceded 11 a game, Saints 14. Warrington are 1-3 favourites. Saints are 5-2. That is how it's looking, ladies and gentlemen, as the chat start talking this way. Joel, I'll start with you. Last week, I thought we saw an improved Saints against Leigh. Very competitive. I thought defensively they looked very, very strong. This is going to be, I think, Warrington's toughest test against Saints this year. Of all the 3 games they played, I think this one will be the toughest test. You know, Saints are going to be well up for this. You know, they are masters of playoff rugby league, former champions, of course. What's your thoughts on that in terms of Saints? Did you see an improved Saints last year? Do you think that this is going to be a lot closer than it has been between these 2 sides this year, without giving a prediction?
Massively improved. Though it's more of a, is it enough? Because the Warrington team this year, you look throughout the full lineup, I don't know of a player that's not good. There's not a single player that you have that you'd think I'd drop him. It's more of a the more the question is, who am I putting in? And it's hard to give my. It's going to give my prediction away a little bit. What I want to say next.
Fair enough. So hold that. I'll go to Steph. Steph, Vaughan back for the wire. And now, since Vaughan come to Super League, thanks to our friends at the match review panel and injuries, we haven't seen Vaughan against Walmsley much. We might get to see it on Saturday. And I, for one, really looking forward to that battle. Who comes out on top, Vaughan and Walmsley?
It's going to be a battle. Definitely, that's going to be a big battle. I think, for me, Vaughan's not been himself this year in terms of the standards he set for last year. I think he was probably, with a moan, he was probably right up there with the best props in Super League last year. I think he has been a bit off. I don't know what his stats says this year in terms of meters made and things like that, but he's still an incredible player. And I think he's going to come back with a point to prove in this game. He'll probably feel like he's even though I know Reggie says people walked into his shoulder, he'll still feel he's let the side down a little bit there by getting that ban, regardless of whether we think he should have been a ban or not. And I think he's going to come in all guns blazing in this game. Walmsley, another one who, you know, he looked awful in that game when he was the first game he came baake from injury, wasn't it? Was it against Wigan? It was against when he played really badly.
Who's that?
Walmsley. He knocked on a few times. Warrington, sorry, yeah, Warrington. But then the next game he played really well. So, you know, they're both class prop forwards, aren't they? And it's going to be one epic battle this between them two. Two very good packs. You know, Knowles as well is going to come into it, and Harrison, and you know, it's mouthwatering, isn't it? You know, in terms of what these two are going to. I mean, I mentioned the intensity at the Sports Village on Friday between Leigh and Saints. Saints really impressed me in terms of the way they played. I think it's going to be a right ding dong this one at the Halliwell Jones.
Well, Tom Mackey there. This is playoff rugby. It's a cliche, but form goes out the window. Greg, discipline is going to be massive in this. It's going to be a pressure cooker of a game. We've already seen at the last game at the HJ when Leigh's got sent for 10. We've seen Harrison be sent off at St. Helens this year, which was a nonsense, as we said at the time. But again, discipline, tackle height has to be on point because it could be the difference.
It could be, and this is what worries me. You know, going back to Steph's point about Vaughan, I think Vaughan it's in the back of his mind that he doesn't know what he's going to get sent off for and banned for next. And I think it's genuinely affected his game. The 4-game ban at the end of last season was absolutely ridiculous, as was his ban this time around. Absolutely ridiculous, as has 60 to 70% of the bans that have been dished out this season. But I think you're right, Dave, and this is what worries me, that I want the game, whether we win or we lose, I want the game to be decided with 13 players on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's Liam Moore to answer Daz, I think.
It's Liam Moore, and it's Chris Kendall as video ref. I mean, if you're a Warrington fan and you see those two and you're playing Saints, you kind of roll your tent up and go home, don't you? You may as well give Saints a bye and put them in the semi-final.
Well, there you go.
It worries me. It worries me, as you say, Dave. That is the one thing that worries me. And I hope that silly yellow or red cards don't ruin it for both games. Don't ruin the spectacle of what should be great games.
Yeah, I'll just answer a couple in the chat. Chris Lewis is saying Wormsley's running at 75%. I think I agree with you. I don't think Wormsley's fully fit. I think there's a couple of Saints players that weren't probably 100% against Leigh, and now Leigh's knocked them to Timbuktu. I think there'll be a few more bumps and bruises as well. Dawn Baker asking, would you leave Vaughan out? My answer to that is why. Why would you, Dawn? Why would you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'll come back to you, Joe, because you hinted at this in terms of the personnel that Warrington have got. I think the only question mark for Warrington in terms of team selection that I'm hearing is who's going to be in centre. We know Toby King's going to be on the left. Is Roderick Ty going to be fit? Does Lindop keep his place? He did nothing wrong against London. He did. In fact, Lindop hasn't done much wrong in every game he's been called upon this year. He's been outstanding. And of course, then you've got, if Ty isn't fit, it's Lindop or Ratchford. I mean, I doubt Ratchford would get a game. I really doubt that. But experience-wise, he's got bags of that. I just don't see the Ratchford one. But Ty or Lindop, based on, if Ty isn't 100%, based on what you've seen of Lindop, would you, because we saw this in the Challenge Cup when Fitzgibbon wasn't 100%. If Ty isn't 100%, I believe you give Aaron Lindop his head and you throw him in, Joe. What do you think?
Even if he is 100%, I'd be very tempted to still put Lindop in for two reasons. Number one, to give Ty just that extra bit of time just to make sure, because you've seen it many times, haven't you, where players have had a few weeks off. They thought they were 100%, come back and re-injured themselves, and they're gone for good. So, for me, because of Lindop's for his consistency alone, I've seen far enough from him to know that he can play at that level. You don't need the experience. He's got all that experience around him. So Ratchford's never going to... He's not 100%, he's not going to play. I don't think Ty's going to play. I think if Sam Burgess is as smart as we all know he is, he's going to wait for the next game. But Lindop should be keeping that spot for me.
You know what the old saying says, tomorrow never comes, mate. I think you've got to play the game. It's in front of you. I think any team who looks past this weekend is going home. I'll go back to Greg before I come to Steph, because John Wilkinson in the chat's asked the question. I know that you'll like this one. Who starts, Powell or Walker at hooker?
Powell.
For his experience.
Powell starts at hooker. Powell, as I've said, should have started at Wembley. And bring Walker on against a tiring pack towards the end of the first, hopefully a tiring pack towards the end of the first half.
Great question, John.
Good question, and I think Powell must start on
Fair
Saturday.
Enough. Right, back to Steph. Steph, if Saints are going to get the win, which they're capable of doing, how do they do it?
Well,
don't say lie down. Oh, that's it. There's all the things that are going at the screen now. The amount of cars that have just gone swerving on the motorway listening to the only joking.
This year's Oscar goes to Jack
Leslie. Yeah. Well, they start Ritson and Gator into people.
I'm only joking. You Saints fans. No, seriously, Steph, how do they do it?
I think intensity is the big one. They've got to believe that they can do it, which a Saints team should have no problem with that at all. I think they can take a lot of confidence out of that league game in terms of an improved performance. I think going just on the Ty Lindop debate, what you've got to remember is Percival's back now. And he's getting better in the centres. Is going to be a big battle. And would they go against each other, Percival and Ty?
Percival and Ty will go head to head, yeah.
Yeah. So defensively, Ty should nullify Percival. His defence has been absolutely outstanding. So I think it's a massive call that, but I think you've got to go with in a game because it's knockout rugby now. It's the intensity of the playoffs. You've got to go with a team that's fit and able to, and I'm sure Lindop would do a great job as well there. But for Saints to win it, I think they're going to have to nullify Dufty. How they do that, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And be it fit or not, Walmsley's going to have to play just for a bit of a battering ram to bruise up some of the wire forwards. Because otherwise, it's going to be they're not going to have anybody with his size and weight to use as a battering ram because he doesn't play a lot of minutes as it is really, as much as he used to do. So put him on for less minutes, but really go at it what you can and just use him as a weight.
I think the biggest problem what Saints have got is having Mateta in the centres, and not to say that Mateta hasn't done a good job in the centres. I think he's missed in the middle in the second row. And I think for Josh Charnley's try, which we've not mentioned yet, he equalled Danny Maguire's record. Well done, Josh Charnley.
Yeah,
well done, Josh.
If you look at that try, I think we found Mateta out in the centres, and I think a lot of Saints fans would agree with that as well. And I think when you've got Warrington's class in the centres and at fullback, and George Williams exposing that's very dangerous, and that's potentially where Saints, to reverse the question, could come unstuck.
Right. Well, reversing it now to Greg. Everywhere you look, we've not done our tips yet, but in the chat, it's YFS. John Wilkinson, Y9-17. Nick Burtonwood, Y9-17. Fraser's gone Saints 1-8, and Greg's gone. Actually, there's a few Saints here. Greg 1-8. Alex Saints 1-8. Alex Bibby, he's going for a Saints win. This is surprising, actually. All the journalists that I've seen have gone Warrington. I'd say that Stephen Broomfield's gone Y1-8. So yeah, actually, we're quite split here. Quite split in the chat when it comes to which way he thinks it's going to go. But certainly the media, Sky, everybody, they'll be tipping Warrington. We know they'll be tipping Warrington based on form and the rest of it. As a Warrington fan who's been there many times, the Sean Long era looms large as I say this. Are you concerned, Greg, going into this game?
I feel sick. Genuinely, every time I think of it, I feel sick. I would much rather be playing Catalan.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not.
Yeah.
Say again.
So I'm glad you're not.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you are. You know what? Yeah, I am concerned. It's not very often we beat Saints once in a season. To beat them 3 times in a season it's only happened once in kind of the last 40 years.
Yeah.
I think longer than that. Can we beat them 4 times in a season? They're getting players back. They're doing a Leeds and getting players back just at the right time. Wellesby has been indifferent, but surely he can't play as bad as he has been the last few weeks. Alex Walmsley was dreadful against us. Surely he can't play that badly. They took a big hit against Leigh last week. They probably wouldn't have scored if Leigh hadn't had that ridiculous yellow card. Although the making some no try was a bit of a mystery for me. Yeah, to answer your question, Dave, I'm extremely concerned.
So on that, give us your prediction.
Oh, I don't know. Come back to me.
Steph, I'll go to you, Steph. What's your thoughts?
I think it's going to be closer than what people think. I really do. I'm a bit Reggie on this one. It is tough. It should be. If you're going off everything that all logic and everything says, it should be a wire win and probably a comfortable one as well. My worry is if something happens like a card. and I have got that in the back of my mind with it. I'm still going to back Wire. I'm going to go Wire 9-17.
9-17. Joe?
I don't know what everyone else is seeing that I'm not. A lot of people seem to think that Saints have got a chance. Because people looking at history, right, and the badges, you've got to look at who's wearing them badges. We've seen a much different Saints team this year and a much different Wire team. You look player to player, I don't see hardly any of them matching up with Wire's players, if I'm being brutally honest. And that's no disrespect to Saints. They've had injuries, they've had everything go wrong their way. And I'm genuinely not taking mickey here. They've done it tough this year, finally. But I just don't see anything other than a Warrington win.
Margin, mate?
9-17, and it's the only reason why I've not gone 18 plus is because of the improvement from last week.
Fair enough. And Greg?
I know what Joel's saying, but I know Wire. This is a different Wire under Sam Burgess, different mentality. You know, I think we were slight favourites in the Challenge Cup final, and we failed to turn up. If they've learned lessons from the Challenge Cup final, and I hope they have, then I'm going Wire 9-17.
Right, okay. So, to conclude, Gary Schofield, Wire 9-17. I'm going Wire 1-8. Greg, 9-17 Wire. Steph, 9-17. Joel, 9-17. And the Fans Forum, 9-17. Lots of people still watching us. Far more people watching us than are members. If you're watching this, you're loving what we're doing. We need your support, guys. And we give it you back tenfold in the membership. I'm begging you. Do that QR code. We're going to go right away through the winter. 40-20, League Express, all of the other podcasts shut down for the winter. We are going to see you through those winter months. Competitions, quizzes, head-to-heads. There's going to be loads of good stuff. Super League Raw Live is coming as well. That's going to be exclusive for members. You want to be a part of this. Come on, help us out. Get in the chat. Boys, because we had a bit of time, that was a proper debate over 2 games. Rugby League should be the winner. Should be the winner. And
Let's hope so.
If the predictions go the way that the predictions have gone there, this time next week, we will be reviewing Wigan against Leigh in a battle of the borough for the grand final. Suddenly Steph started sweating. And Hull KR taking on the Warrington Wolves, and they've dished up some brilliant games. But first things first, Warrington and Leigh have got a big job on, and it could easily be the other way. Josh Grimes, a new member, Wire 9-17. Andy Bibby is saying Warrington by 18 plus. Right, said it was going to be a bumper show. We're now going to let you know who has got the Dream Team spot at loose forward. These were the contenders: Ben Curry, Elliot Minchella. Minchella is. Oliver Partington, and Cade Ellis of the Wigan Warriors. Those were the contenders that we saw going into this. Right, one-word answers again, gentlemen. Starting with you, Steph. Who are you going with?
Limoncello.
Joel?
I've got to agree. Yeah, Limoncello.
And Greg?
Minchella, yes.
Minchella as well. Should we find out who's got it?
Go on, then. You're Ben Curry now, on.
Towards Ryan Hall. It's a late sting in the tail here. A chip forward. Hull FC goes chasing after it. They've got a loose ball. Minchella! Elliot Minchella. Badly up through. But Minchella has got to pause either way. Which way is it going to go? He goes for Mikey Lewis. And Lewis scores.
Looking to get things on. Minchella's running back at Busquets because he wasn't square. Wow, that's clever play from Elliot Minchella. He'd have heard the referee shouting, Julian.
So there you go. The official Super League Raw loose forward of 2024 is the Hull KR Player of the Year and our Dream Team number 13, Elliot Minchella. 24 appearances, 4 tries, 3 assists, 38 tackle busts, 5 clean breaks, 33 offloads, 838 tackles, 303 carries, 1,629 metres, an average of 5.38 a carry. And I have to agree with Matthew Lane in the chat, Minchella will be a massive loss in the semi-final for KR. That said, Dean Hadley, I'm sure, will deputise very, very well. Joel, start with you. How impressed have you been with Elliot Minchella this year?
Very much so. I don't see anybody else who it could have taken that place, really. He's been a shining light in a very bright team.
Yeah.
And I think that shows just how good he has played, because Hull has been, KR, has been unbelievable this year. And the fact that he's shone like he has says more about him than the team itself. So well done to Elliot.
Yeah, just a quick one there. Alex Sharp saying, will the badge change to Mikey Lewis if he wins Man of Steel? Yes, every year we change the Super League board badge to the Man of Steel. So if you remember last year, it was Brodie Croft. The year before that, and our debut with the badge, it was out of respect for Rob Burrow. But next year, the badge will change. Whoever is this year's Man of Steel will sit proudly on top of the Super League Raw badge for 2025. That is what we do. Steph, Elliot Minchella?
Yeah, love me a bit of Limoncello, as the Curry night proved the other night. No, I think he's been outstanding, Minchella, absolutely outstanding. He's probably on a par with what Asiata did last year for me in terms of the impact on his team. Absolutely outstanding this season. I think Ellis at Wigan's probably the only one who's come close to him for me, but he's one of those players that is a leader for KR, and he's massively important to how that team goes forward. And my only concern for KR is losing him for that game next week. I think that's a huge loss. I think they could have, some other players, they could probably have absorbed it, but I think that's definitely one that they're going to miss.
Absolutely. And finally, Greg, obviously Curry's had a good season for Warrington, but Minchella, give me no arguments, really.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Easy one for me. I've been kind of bigging him up all season, praised him all season. I think I was last season as well. One of the unsung heroes, and doesn't get the raps he deserves as far as I'm concerned.
Fair enough. And look, there's a lot of people in the chat. I think Daz Dean's been in there. Dawn Baker's been in there. Simon Shaw's been in there talking about Cade Ellis. Absolutely right. This graphic will be on our Facebook page tomorrow. A comparison, Minchella, with the 3 that we put him up against. And they're absolutely right. I mean, if you look at Cade Ellis this season, he has been very good. He's actually made the most meters of any of those loose forward picks. He's made 2,000 on the nose from 327 carries. Tackles, Minchella, he gets that 838. Partington, 833. Tackle busts has gone the way of Minchella. Clean breaks has gone the way of Minchella. Minchella scored the most tries. He's made 3 assists, which is the same as Partington, 1 more than Ellis. But Ben Curry has made 3 more assists in the season. But when you actually look right across it, look at the errors. Only 3 errors, Minchella, 6 for Curry, 14 for Partington, 9 for Ellis. Like with all of these type of awards, there's arguments for them all. But I think based on how he's led that team, like Steph has said, his impact has been incredible and fully deserving. And let's not forget, he got his, and Darren Davis has spotted the errors. He's saying wow on that as well. Let's not forget, he got his first England call-up. He's been doing that well this season. So well done to Elliot Minchella. So there are first 2 places in the Super League Raw Dream Team that we've announced tonight. More to come in the coming weeks. But of course, we've had lots to talk about tonight, but will be less next week. So we'll get a few more in and we will build up our Dream Team as we go through the next few weeks. The last thing that we're going to do, though, is we're going to announce the player of the month for the month of September. These were your choices, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, just the 1 to 13. That's all you can pick, the 1 to 13. The bench does not count. Who would be your player of the month for September? I'll go through the panel. Greg, I'll start with you. Who would you give player of the month to September to?
Bevan French.
You're going Bevan French.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Joel?
I'm really struggling. It's between Matty Ashton and George Williams, I think.
You're going to Warrington contingent. Interesting.
I am.
Over to Steph.
Right, well, if we're doing two,
We're doing one. It can only be one.
It's between Marshall and Insember for me. I'm going to go Marshall.
You're going Marshall. Right, they're all getting involved in the chat. Let's go through them. Craig Forth is saying French. John Wilkinson and Sember. Dawn Baker going the same way. Mark Smith, Matty Parcell. Dawn Kirby's gone in Sember. Daz Dean's gone in Sember. Alex Sharp, French Olatelli. That'll please you, Steph. I think that's one to put a smile on your face. We know there's a bit of a love affair going on the WhatsApp. Simon Shaw, Frenchie's player of the month. Tom Mackey, he's gone Mackay. You'll have to let us know how to do it, Tom. And Sember for Greg Roach as well. Stephen Broomfield saying it's a great show. We've not finished yet, Steve. So hang on. Give us a bit of that later. Nicola Burtonwood has gone Rick Latelli. Who'd have thought that? And the Sale family have limped in with Latelli as well. You just wouldn't have thought it, would you? Michael Bell has gone Marshall. Gentlemen, that's enough discussion. Should we find out who the Super League Raw Player of the Month is?
Love to.
Here he comes.
Devon French cutting back towards his left-hand side, where there's a huge gap, and Insember. It's Junior Insember who's got field killing.
Going out to the left-hand side, and a short pass for Insember, and Sember, oh, what a try!
So there you go. It's the young man. I think it's got to be young player of the season elect, Junior Insember. Played 3, won 3, try and assist, 18 tackle busts in those 3 games, 4 breaks, 41 carries for 390 metres. Quite exceptional, the metres made. In the 1 to 13, I'm pretty certain that only Field, Matty Ashton and Ricky Latelli did more. Incredible, absolutely incredible from Junior Insember. And yes, Alex Sharp, I did that on purpose, the first clip. I got you off, I took you off guard. I thought, oh yeah, I'll do this one because they'll think it's French. Not at all. It's the big man himself, Junior Insember. What a player. Steph, no arguments. Junior picking up the award?
No, typical. It was the one that I didn't go for in terms of my 2 picks there, but I'm gonna claim credit. At least I picked him. I said he would
Absolutely.
Be. So Marshall has been fantastic, but I don't think anyone can argue what a talent he is, and quite rightly, the NRL clubs will be sniffing all over Insember.
Absolutely, Greg.
Oh, mate, when he's at Canberra next season after Wire have turned down another offer for Walker, he's going to rip the NRL up, I tell you. No, fair enough. Yeah, he's class. He's going to be. He's some player now. He's what, 12? Imagine what he's going to be when he's 25, 26 in his prime. Yeah. He's going to be an absolute monster of a player.
Well,
he really is. He's frightening now. Imagine what he's going to be like in 5 years' time.
Well, the NRL will be looking at him, and I think
looking at him now. There's no
even
doubt
more so when he plays for England against Samoa, because I think he has to start. He has
to start
against Samoa
easily.
This season he's become senior in Sembrante.
Absolutely. Joel, you're liking a bit of Mr. Insember?
I do. I was very close to picking him. I'm really looking forward to when him and Cleary come over to Huddersfield, and then we can get his new stadium. And
season after Joel.
Yeah, it's going to be yeah. We'll be talking about us in playoffs next year.
Well, there you go. So Junior Insember gets 3 points, and of course we will be announcing next week. Next week we will be announcing the first Super League Raw Trophy winner for 2024. That will be announced next week. More Dream Team members will be announced next week. We will, of course, unpack on the Final Whistle podcast this coming Monday morning for your trip to work, all the elimination playoff, big talking points and anything that crops up between now and then. We will be back for Super League Raw Weekly next week, looking back at those games, looking forward to 2 mouth-watering semi-finals, and, of course, all those awards that go with it. I told you it was going to be a good show. It has been a good show. We've had plenty of fun there. And you people who haven't joined yet, you've watched us all night. You've been watching us for 2 hours.
Get
Come
joining.
on, help us to make this better. And like I say, you'll get it back tenfold. Go over now to our Patreon website, have a look at the memberships, do support us here at Super League Raw. It would mean the world. All that's left for me to say is thank you to all the members and all of the new people watching, our regular watchers for watching us. Thank you as always to Mr. Scholes, Mr. Sale, and to Mr. Nixon for their company and for their insight this evening. We will be back for more Super League Raw Weekly next Tuesday at 8 p.m. We always say it. You can't beat a bit of Super League Raw Weekly. And we're going to go out with the final top performers of 2024. Let's see who leads the charts. We'll see you next week.
Here are your top performers for the 2024 Betfred Super League. The top try scorer is Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors with 27. The most try assists have been made by Lachlan Lamb of the Leigh Leopards and Mikey Lewis of Hull KR, each with 24. The most metres made in Super League have come from the Warrington Wolves' Matt Dufty, 4,234. The most tackle bus on his debut season is Lockie Mill of the Leeds Rhinos with 206. The most clean breaks have come from our top try scorer Liam Marshall. He got 36 clean breaks this year. Whilst the most offloads on his debut season is Herman SASA of Hull FC with 61. The most hard beaters made down the middle have come from Reece Martin of the Leeds Rhinos with 2,880. Whilst the most tackles have come from his captain, Cameron Smith, with 992. And finally, the most goals kicked this year have come from Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 97. These are the top performers for the 2024 Betfred Super League.